What's up, everyone? So today I'm going to be testing out two of my cook kits that I plan on taking on the Appalachian Trail. I'm not sure which one I'm going with yet, so I'm going to be comparing the pros and the cons of both and the boil times, and we'll just see what we can figure out with these here. So I have the Stanley stainless steel cup here, and the Snow Peak 600 titanium mug, which is considerably lighter, but it's also smaller and can hold a lot less than this can hold. So let me just take out all the contents real quick for you. The Stanley cup has a locking handle that keeps this lid in place. Inside of here I have my mini scrubber, my small little 3-ounce fuel canister, and my alcohol stove, the Silver Bullet. And I also have this windshield that I've made that just sort of unfolds into itself here. It's hard to do with one hand like that. And it also has a little stove stand here. So that's how that would look set up. It's pretty easy to do. Same setup in here, just about. I just can't hold a big fuel canister. I can probably hold about a 1 ounce or a 2 ounce. Same deal, just cut. Just cut a small piece of metal, make it sort of fold into itself there. And same deal. A little off balance there. It's already a bad sign. There we go. So yeah, we'll see which one works better. I've used this one a lot more. I know this one is lighter and it works, but I've used this one enough to know that it works 100% all the time. So we've got about 5 or 6 inches so far. Oh man. Well done, because I'm having a hard time lighting these. I took a piece of paper towel and covered it in chapstick, which is essentially like Vaseline. It'll create sort of a candle wick. And if you have matches, this would be much better. I just wasn't ready for this in the cold weather. I've never really tested it in cold weather, so let's try this again. Hopefully I can get it working. All I need to do is get it lit. There we go. A little harder to light. Okay. So that worked. That was better. Start the time. Okay. Set. Oh, that is the wrong one. Damn it! I was not prepared for this. There we go. Okay. Okay. Sorry about my camera skills, guys. A few things while this is heating up. I made both of these stove setups back in like 2014. I did a lot of experiments on boil times in the summer. In the summer, I had the best results with this stove setup. And I think the longest time it took was like 6, maybe 7 minutes to boil. 1.5 cups to 2 cups of water, something like that. But in the wintertime, when it is colder, these tests really need to be done, especially for everyone planning on starting early. If they're using an alcohol stove, make sure if you bought one, just know your boil times and make sure that you test it in windy conditions or cold conditions. I mean, I'm just telling you, it's so important, because in the summertime it gets hot fast. It doesn't take long. The wind isn't too much of an issue, I didn't find. So I had to check to make sure everything is still going. So it is lit. It's hard to see. There it is, yeah. And it is starting to warm up. You can feel it. The windscreens work great. They're lightweight. They fit right into the stove. I mean, right into the mug. It works great for me. If you want to use like one of those really flimsy windscreens, I guess that would work. This, you know, it compacts down really easy. But anyways, I'll let the boil test keep going, and I'll show you the results. Another thing I want to add, this holds a lot more water than this one, like I was saying earlier. So this is more of a one-time use, like, you know, you make breakfast with it or coffee with it, and that's pretty much it. This right here holds enough to where you can make you a cup of coffee and maybe a bowl of oatmeal at the same time. So, and I don't know about you guys, but I'm not going to boil my water to drink coffee. I get it to where it's, you know, warm, and then I pour my cup of coffee so I can have it then. But if you boil the water to have a cup of coffee, I mean, it's kind of, in my opinion, dumb, because you can't even drink the coffee for a while. So you really don't have to fill it up all the way. It takes about 1 ounce of fuel to boil the water. And I'd probably just pour me a cup of coffee when it gets warm enough, and then I would let it heat up a little longer and maybe pour that in my oatmeal or my grits or my cream of wheat or whatever I was having that morning, instead of having to let it boil. So you don't have to let it boil. I think that's just a point of reference for people for like using Mountain House meals or packaged food where you have to boil the water in order to cook the food. So that's another thing to keep in mind. You don't have to boil the water. It doesn't take a whole ounce. And if this one container I use, I put it inside 3 ounce bottle, you know, to give me a good six cups of coffee, 6 meals. So that's really easy.
So we are at just over 6 minutes. Taking a little longer than normal. It is starting to
Bubble at the bottom for these. Just about to boil. I would say about 8 minutes would probably be the right amount of time, which isn't far off from its summer boil time. It looks like my Stanley is doing a little better than my Snow Peak, honestly, which it's good, but I'd rather carry the Snow Peak because it's lighter. If you can get the Snow Peak 900, I would go for that. I believe that would work good. So, yeah. And if you can make a windscreen like this, I would highly advise it. If you're going with an alcohol stove, just because it nests in the cup perfectly. Just make sure that you file down the edges, because that shit is sharp as hell and it will cut the hell out of you. So I sanded down the edges. I cut it perfectly to where it would fit into my mug, and just popped some holes in this one. I never did on this one because I didn't use them since 6 o'clock this morning. It's already about 3 o'clock, so we've this is the most snow we've gotten all year, even though it's only January. But if you're living on the East Coast, you know what I mean. It's crazy. The weather's been crazy. December, January. Yeah.
Okay, coming right up on 8.5 minutes, and I checked the temperature with my finger, and this is about where I want it for just drinking coffee. So 8 minutes is not bad in the, you know, 20-degree weather, snowy conditions, really windy. It's about where I would stop it at, but I'm going to let it keep going just to get to a boil and see what time it would take. I guess it'll take about 10 minutes, which is crazy, but it is like 20-something degrees out here. Okay, right at 10 minutes we started getting some bubbles, and I would consider that a boil. That is not a rolling boil, but it is a boil. Let's see the Snow Peak here. It's just now getting there. Yeah, a couple bubbles. So right about 10 minutes for both of them. I think this Stanley won by just a couple of seconds. It definitely wins with efficiency for me over the 600. Weight, unfortunately, it is a lot heavier than the Snow Peak. You know, if I'm carrying the Snow Peak, I don't even feel anything. But I'll also time the stoves themselves to see when they burn out, because they burn for a long time on 1 ounce of fuel. That is one thing that is great about these stoves, is they are incredibly efficient and lightweight. If you're just a little more patient with them, I do believe it's the way to go. That's just my personal opinion. So it just started to get to a rolling boil around 14 minutes, which is horrible. But again, like I said, it started to boil about 9 minutes? About 9 minutes, which is, you know, it's good for me, because I would have taken it off at 8 minutes. But yeah, rolling boil about 13 to 14 minutes. Snow Peak still hasn't quite got there yet. I think there might be too much open space around here or something. I'm not quite sure on that. Not enough airflow, I don't know. But either way, this is without a doubt the stove I'll be taking, unless I get a Snow Peak 900, because I just need more capacity overall. Another thing I don't like about the Snow Peak is the handles. I'm just not a big fan of those. You know, they don't really burn necessarily, but this handle is much more efficient. It locks the lid in place without having to use a rubber band. So this is definitely my choice. Yeah, and it's cheap too. It's only like 12, maybe $15 or something at Walmart. Really cheap. Only downside is it weighs a lot. If you can shave weight in other places, a very efficient cook set right here. If you want to learn how to make a zero alcohol stove, it's very easy. I just used a, I believe it was a Cool Light beer can. I can't really remember, but just look up zero alcohol stove on YouTube and you'll find it. This thing burned for like 22 minutes, no joke, you guys. So be mindful of how much alcohol you use if you use a zero alcohol stove, because it holds a lot. It burns. It's supposed to burn faster, but I mean, honestly, 22 minutes is ridiculous for an ounce of fuel. Just go with half an ounce of fuel, about 8 minutes for a boil time, and I guarantee you that is just an efficient way of cooking food or making coffee on the Appalachian Trail. Alright guys, signing out. Thanks for watching, and also thank you for supporting me and watching my powerlifting video. It means a lot to me. Everything went well, and yeah, I was just proud of my accomplishment there. So anyways, see you guys on the next video. I got all my gear ready for the gear video. I think it's going to be really nice. I just gotta wait for the snow to clear up so I can lay everything out on the ground, or else I'll have to do it inside. But yeah, be looking for my gear video. And man, like 50 something days left. We're out.